morning, and thank you for joining us. I-24 News Morning Edition. On to our first topic. Following the Israeli Defense Forces' capture of the cargo ship KLOSC, alleged to have been carrying arms, including long-range missiles intended for the Gaza Strip, Israel went on a full-blown media blitz, with detailed intelligence reports underlining the Iranian connection to the ship and its cargo. A media blitz that culminated yesterday in a press conference in Eilat, where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stressed the Iranian connection repeatedly. But local pundits wonder whether this PR move was necessary or overplayed, and to discuss that, we are joined by Israel Hayom Foreign Affairs Editor Boaz Bismuth. Boaz, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And by Haaretz journalist and blogger Uri Misgav. Uri, good morning to you. And before we try and figure it out, let's take a look at the following report.
The capture of the cargo ship Class C near Port Sudan by the IDF Naval Commando presented Israel with a unique opportunity. The ship, chock full of long-range missiles that allegedly were to be sent into the Gaza Strip, turned into a public relations wildcard. As the talks with Iran over the nuclear program became an accepted reality, no longer a vague diplomatic concept that one could argue against in the UN, the Iranian fingerprints on the ship, described in exquisite detail by Israeli intelligence reports, became, for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, a piece of hard evidence against the Gulf country.
The entire operation, this clandestine operation, was organized by Iran. While Iran is conducting these talks, smiling to the international community, it continues to arm terrorist groups, it continues to perpetrate terrorism around the world.
It was but a few days later, in an international press conference in the port of Eilat, where the ship's cargo laid unloaded and revealed to the eyes and lenses of all, that Netanyahu stressed the very same point.
The ship was organized by Iran, dispatched by Iran, financed by Iran.
Over and over again. The media blitz executed by the spokesperson departments of the government and the IDF was unusual in scope, proving that the success of the operation lay in public relations, perhaps almost as much as in its strategic value. But, while stressing the Iranian connection turned back the diplomatic process already in full effect.
And as we said, joined by Boaz Bismuth from Israel Hayom and Uri Misgav of Haaretz. Uri, you know, I read the newspapers yesterday, but most Israeli newspapers sang a love song to this quote-unquote love boat. You wrote a column in Haaretz saying the extravaganza produced today by the Israeli government and security forces at the port of Eilat just might be the abyss. What do you mean?
Very simple language. Lunatics, get off the boat. Get back to proportions. In life, overdoing is almost always wrong. It's right for cooking, it's right for writing, and it's right for politics and media. This was a very embarrassing moment, maybe a low moment for the Israeli government, unfortunately also for the Israeli army, which was dragged into that exhibition. And we know that already yesterday, during the exhibition and after that, there was a harsh criticism in the high command of the Israeli army about cooperating with this. This is not a fine moment of the Israeli media or politics.
And Boaz Bismuth, you know, when Israel Hayom, actually, the newspaper you work for, in a complete opposite stance to Haaretz, had, you know, a headline saying, all of Iran's lies. And, you know, that's a line that goes ahead with what the Israeli government is portraying. Needless to say, you know, we come from the agenda of two sourcing information. Do you think that, you know, this extravaganza was a little bit overblown?
I can make it very short. I can just say one sentence. Everything Uri Misgav said right now, I say exactly the opposite. So it can be simple. Or would you like me to proceed? And I'll do so. This is not a question. This is not a question of how you. Interpretation is a question of facts. So of course, I believe that Uri and I live in the same country, but we see things in a very different way, which is, by the way, totally acceptable, comprehensible. And although you compare me to my neighbors, I am so happy that Uri Misgav exists. And I will tell you why before I'll answer you concerning Iran. What Uri Misgav writes, I must be honest, I saw you today, we have supposed to meet today, so I read you. And very interesting, I must say, very well written. 100 years, 200 years from today, I don't know what value it is, value it will be. I have in history, but it's important that you're here. I'll tell you why, because you compare me to my neighbors. In my journalist career, I travel a lot, and I go to my neighbors, including Iran. They don't have any Uri Misgav. So in one way, the fact that you're right contributes to the state that you, criticize a lot. But that's concerning what you write. With pleasure, I'm doing it with
but,
pleasure.
But as you said, in
concerning
democracy,
the vote,
we should be
no, because we're talking about because the people who view right now this debate must understand that 0.01% of Israeli public opinion thinks like this gentleman. So let's be honest.
No, let's be with the facts now. Otherwise,
no, the facts. No, the facts.
0.01% of the Israeli
because
public.
let's be honest, Israel is proud of its army. Iran is threatening not only Israel but concerning the world. Now, Israel, maybe if you do not know the Iranians right now, Iranians are supporting terrorism. They are. This shipment came from Iran, did come from Iran. Iran is developing a nuclear program which is for military purpose, and even the ones who are not Israeli Zionists do believe that. They do believe that. Israel has had presidents in their history which denied Holocaust.
The discussion
all this is a fact.
is not about
So
Iran.
it's about what? So tell me, it's about what?
We had a huge surprise with the capture of the ship. The Iranians are not nice. Wow. The Iranians are in war zone with Israel and supporting some terror attacks. The discussion is not about Iran.
It's about what,
the
sir?
discussion is about the sanity of the Israeli
So
government, including
One second.
the Prime Minister
Mr. Misgab,
that is being supported
This is the problem,
by
Mr.
your
Misgab.
newspaper.
Mr. Misgab.
This is
Mr.
a
Misgab.
propaganda
I will answer you.
newspaper.
But
I will
everybody's
answer.
gonna
No,
speak in their turns.
I will
Everybody's
answer.
a
Let me
voice.
please answer.
Okay.
Let's take your article, sir. Let's take your article. In your article, you quote someone, I don't think it was even you, and you make the comparison with Titus. Yes, you make comparison with Titus. Beautiful, by the way. How beautiful for the readers. Let me finish. How beautiful for the readers. I haven't seen any Iranians in chain. By the way, let me tell you something about. Let me tell you something about my country. Let me tell you about your country too. About your country also. In our country, by the way, many operations of the army will never be known. We don't even know them. So we're not Titus. On the contrary, this time it was done not because we're so proud. On the contrary, I was in the Navy, by the way, myself. I had a beautiful uniform in the Navy. What Israelis, when they come back on Friday, first thing they do is take out the uniform, because usually when you're in France, you go to Clignancourt to buy uniform, not Israelis. Don't try to make us warriors, but we have a reality. Now, the fact that we have to show the world is because right now, and we have seen Catherine Ashton smiling to the Iranians, this is a country, this is a state, this is a nation, this is a regime where you have to be harsh.
You are disturbing the attention of the world to real issues.
So concerning the attention, Mr. Misgab, the problem we have right now...
The world is not listening. When you do exhibitions like that, there is no media attention to that. There is a Malaysian Boeing disappeared. There's Ukraine. There's the nuclear talk show. Nobody is listening to that circus. It's ridiculous. It works only on the mainstream. I can't speak. It works only on the mainstream Israeli media, which is either paralyzed or supported or supportive automatically for this prime minister. We are proud of the army. We are proud of the army. We are ashamed of this government.
That is the problem. But sir, that is the problem.
You are humiliating Israeli officers when you have to conduct them and making these exhibitions.
Really,
this is not
humiliating them after Entebbe.
This is not Entebbe. This is capturing of a civilian ship.
2002, Karine A. Ariel Sharon ridiculized the army. I'm asking you a question.
There is a big difference. Ariel Sharon was also doing things politically and militarily. Netanyahu is dealing only with media secrecy.
I need to just divert this to one point. And there is truth in the fact that, and we've scoured the international media, it wasn't that much picked in the international media. There was, though.
Of course there wasn't. Let me tell you one thing. Of course there wasn't. Look, I covered these Geneva talks ever since they restarted in 2009 Geneva in October, let me precise. And then I saw those conversations and discussions and agreements or whatever you want ever since in Turkey and in Geneva again and bis repetita and again and again. Do you really believe that Israel and the world are seeing Iranian threat in the same way? I mean, what a scoop. No, we don't. Let me tell you another thing. The beginning of the 90s and 2000, when Shimon Peres was Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and he used to come to France, and he was talking about the Iranian threat. You know what they were answering in the Quai d'Orsay? Israeli paranoia. How come the world is not seeing us in the same... I mean, we don't see things the same way. Of course we're not. And that is my tragedy.
The question is begged, though, to be asked, does it help to flaunt things in a certain way if the world does not pick up on this? Because it was a PR.
So I will give you an answer.
But hold on,
it's the opposite of help. It's disturbing the real attention to the real issues. And Netanyahu criticism over the international efforts are disturbing it. When we saw, I don't like seeing Catherine Ashton smiling there. I don't understand, by the way, why she has to wear that.
I want to take a look at one phrase that Netanyahu said yesterday in that conference, which goes exactly to the point that both of you are making. Let's take a look.
This determination to ignore the truth that was exposed once again with the capture of the ship is, first of all, hypocritical. I said a moment ago that at most I heard a few faint condemnations of Iran from the international community after we intercepted this murderous shipment. We even saw representatives of the world powers shaking hands and smiling with the heads of Iran's regime. At the same time, we were unloading these missiles here in Eilat.
Now, Uri Misgav, I want to ask you, because this is a statement directed at the EU, at Catherine Ashton, that is directly at that visit that's been going on right now in Iran.
I can say one thing. Luckily, they don't listen and they don't watch this exhibition. You know why? They have other things on their mind. The public in France and in Washington and in London is dealing with real issues. So this is actually, we can talk, it's a closed circle talk. It became an internal media event.
No, which begs the question, if a tree falls in, and nobody listens, what good does this do?
First of all, ever since this morning, everybody listens because everybody is watching I-24. So they've seen the movie. First of all,
now it's a game changer.
Now
that's
everybody
for sure.
has seen it. Luckily, we came this morning.
Okay,
Secundo, you
yeah.
said yourself, Mr. Misgav, I think you gave the answer this morning by saying right now, the dealing now in Europe with the real issues. Sir, for me, the Malaysian plane is a huge tragedy. I collect planes. I love planes, and especially Boeing. What is happening in Ukraine, I covered the event. I was there. I came back from Kiev. Of course, this is really a tremendous story with all the ingredients. But when you say it's not a real issue, for me, sir, the Iranian issue is the most important issue. So when you tell me this is not a real issue, you're telling everything you believe.
The Iranian
so
issue is a real issue. The 40 missiles and
Not
the
for them.
Kalashnikov bullets are not an issue. You know why? Because Israel...
So where do you live?
Everybody...
Do you live in Switzerland?
Everybody...
sir?
No, I can...
No, because
You know what?
do you
What's
think,
bothering me, Mr.
Tell me what's
Bismarck?
bothering, sir.
You're not polite. I listen to
I'm
you.
sorry.
Yeah,
Of
let
course,
him speak
you
for a
were
minute.
misleading and giving some really...
Of course, but you're not.
No.
But the answer, come on, guys, I'm here to mediate. Yes.
Please.
Again and again, I will
But
try.
you don't like answers. You think that the country
Boaz, let's let Mr. Misgav finish.
In your newspaper, you don't.
No,
you
I used to
never
work
have.
before in other newspapers, and I wrote exactly the same.
And you used to work
I
also
worked
as a
with the same
I'm going to
newspaper.
stop you,
And as a
though,
You're
because nobody's
supposed to
gonna speak.
understand
And I'm proud of it.
diplomacy. When you bring some embarrassed ambassador to have selfie photos of there with the missiles, when you see our prime minister doing...
Did I force them to do the selfie? Did I also force
No,
them in Hollywood? Did I force President Obama in South
Prime
Africa
Minister
to do a
is taking
selfie?
selfies with Navy warriors.
Can I answer,
this
Mr.
is
Misgav?
a grotesque farce.
So
this
what do
has
you
to
work?
stop.
No, I can answer him. I can answer
now you
because
can, but
because
everybody speaks
just
in
one
their
thing
turn.
concerning the
This is
selfie. We live in an era, sir. You're in communication. I'm very. When you write about evolution and the world that is changing, it's okay. But this world is changing also in communication, and selfie has become fashion. And you can call what we have seen like a festival. Yes, if
A
I
circus,
need
not a
sir,
festival.
circus,
A
let it be a
circus.
circus, whatever you want, sir. If I need that in order to succeed or to try at least, maybe I failed, maybe the world doesn't care. And that also, in a way, I did prove something also by showing the world that you don't care while the other ones are continuing
Why did you prove
proceeding.
that the Iranians are not nice, that they have rockets?
No, that they're supporting-
Israel have
that
rockets.
while you're smiling to
Israel
them-
is the fourth...
Why are you comparing me to Iran, sir?
exporting
Are you comparing me to Iran,
ammunition
sir?
to the world.
Are you comparing me to Iran,
Everybody
sir?
is sending
Are you
rockets
comparing
to
me-
everybody.
Are you comparing me to
No,
Iran, sir?
but I don't want to
Are
look
you
even
comparing my
1%
regime?
like them.
Are you comparing-
you know
are
who
you
does
comparing my
exhibitions
regime?
with rockets?
Tell me.
Iranians. Do you want to look like Iranians? We look like
No, sir,
Iranians
I don't
now.
look like Iranians, sir.
No, but and then this is a question now to both of you, and please, as we all have to speak in our turns. Does media coverage internally in a country, okay? If first of all, I think as we established at the beginning, it's the right to criticize that makes a democracy. Correct?
I did say
okay.
that at the
No,
beginning,
as
madam.
I said. But is there, and I'm asking you now, the fact that the media internally went ahead with the press conference and all these pictures, does that serve an internal agenda that actually is good for Israel? That's
First
the
of all,
question.
I believed in my first part of my answer. Let me tell you, Mr. Misgav reminded us that I was a diplomat, and it is true. And every time I was so flattered, honored, when I used to have debates in an Arabic country, by the way, for 4 years, and I enjoyed every second. Every time I had debates at the time when they were used to quote L'Express or El Aram or whatever, at the end they used to quote my friend that I appreciate, Gidon Levy, and I was so happy to live in a country where you have Gidon Levy. So first of all, concerning criticism of the media,
our audience, that's
and
an,
criticize.
you know,
First of all,
that's
first of all,
Again and again, that
first of all,
you're
let me
doing
just finish.
us a big
Let me just
favor.
finish.
Gidon Levy
No.
and
My friend, by the way.
and Haaretz have rights to be
First
here.
of all, don't
We're
flatter
not
you. First of all,
inferior
Mr.
to you.
Misgav, don't flatter yourself. I spoke about Gidon Levy, but concerning what we have said, of course, I mean, concerning, he spoke about Israel Hayom as being,
Let's
the
just keep it
media
quick.
of the Prime Minister. I don't think that Israel, Bisa Benjamin Netanyahu, has any influence on Yediot Achronot, a newspaper Uri Misgav worked for, myself too, to put it on page 2-3. A newspaper can take the decision. If they did so, maybe you can explain to me why.
Okay, real quick.
And that's not government,
Real
that's
quick,
media.
but let him speak.
I will, because the mainstream Israeli media is hypnotized to army operations.
Okay.
And what's happening in Yediot Achronot right now is a problem. This paper has lost direction, so it's trying to look for a kind of a last consensus. We don't care about consensus here. We're talking about media, about politics, about diplomacy, and about the efficiency of operations. If you think this circus was helpful in any way to Israeli goals, so yes, we have a dispute.
And sadly, guys, seriously, this is
Just
all
one last sentence.
really quickly.
Mr.
We've got
Misgav,
10
only one
seconds.
thing, permit also people not to think like you.
And
Thank
then
God.
I think
and we're the majority.
The pluralism of opinions is why we are here. And folks, thank you. We'll hug outside of the studio. When we get back, the world marks 3 years to the Fukushima nuclear disaster as thousands take part in an anti-nuclear protest. But first, as in every morning, let's hear some more of the morning headlines. Good morning, and thank you for staying with us. I-24 News Tuesday, very hard day to swallow, but it makes it easier for me to do so because I say hello and good morning to Anthony Grant, who joins me daily, and I would be lost without you.
Likewise, and good morning. And it's a day of fascination.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I'll tell you why. This sort of semi-cryptic headline from the Jerusalem Post, U.S. general proposes that Israel defend Jordan and Egypt with anti-missile system. That's quite a headline.
Wow.
And first of all, the U.S. general in question is Brigadier General John Shapland, who's the chief defense attaché for the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv. And here I thought all they did at the embassy was have parties. They do more than have parties.
They do more than the 4th of July hot dog party.
Yeah, exactly.
This
is a major proposition.
It's a proposition. Actually, you know what? I don't necessarily disagree because in many ways it kind of will cement the peace agreements, the only peace agreements that are signed in this region.
Which could always use some extra shoring up in terms of morale and all the rest of it. And that would certainly be something that would be good on many levels, I think.
Can the dome be shared? Yeah, that's the question.
But the reception so far seems to be not frosty. Israel seems to be cautiously open to that idea. So let's see what happens.
And hey, if military cooperation is what gets them going, I'm all for it. Yes.
Speaking of cooperation, on another note, in another sphere, we have Gulf News reporting that Iran's President Rouhani is set to visit Oman on Wednesday in his first GCC, that's a Gulf Cooperation Council countries trip, on Wednesday. This is also very interesting because, as people might recall, it was Oman where apparently the United States tried to use the Sultan of Oman as an intermediary to have dialogue with Iran before the whole nuclear talks were starting up. So that's an interesting maneuver on Rouhani's part, and apparently they're going to sign some kind of an agreement to build a causeway that will eventually connect Iran with the Gulf countries. Wow.
Yes.
Now, they're going to sign it. Who knows if it's actually going to build it, but that would be quite a...
But it's all these, it's interesting because you've been doing a great job over the course of the last several months of bringing us these news reports about all these deals that the so-called new Iran is about to sign, which are very hard to obviously, to source and say if it's going to happen, yes or no.
Yeah.
But it's the information that's out there. Airlines that will fly there, deals that
this rush of deals and the art of the deal.
The art of the deal, but it's fascinating because that shows that where there are people living in Israel, like it or not, behind the scenes, people are already getting involved in opening Iran up or making it part of some sort of a consensus.
Yeah, and so then there's that aspect to grapple with from the policy angle.
Yep.
Speaking of dilemmas, Time has this headline which is very timely about Ukraine. Basically, Ukraine troops in Crimea face dilemma to defect, flee, or fight. Without getting too much into the confusion of what's happening in Ukraine, basically what this article is saying is that the confusion is escalating on the part of the military people on the ground, the Ukrainian troops, because they're not allowed to use their weapons to use them, but there's provocations coming from the Russians. So it's really tense, and it's going to be becoming more tense by the day.
And it's also a headline that shows that I think if you're a Ukrainian soldier, you kind of figured out that the Russians, when it comes to Crimea, have sort of won. In some ways, you know.
And there's some taunting going on. And when you're taunting someone with a gun, well, escalation is bound to happen on some level at some point. So it's very tense there.
That's on the international conflict du jour.
Speaking of escalation, the Financial Times has a quite amazing story about Fethullah Gulen, who is the Turkish Islamic preacher in exile in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
He's calling for a new constitution in Turkey. This has just raised up the ante in the war of words, so far just words, between Erdogan, Turkish prime minister, and this guy, Gulen, who's hugely influential despite the fact that he operates in relative protection on United States soil. He's saying that new legislation that's coming from Erdogan's AK, Justice and Peace Development Party, is going to make Turkey's intelligence service having dictatorial powers.
Yes.
And he's angry. The Financial Times is a very influential newspaper. And
and it's you know, I think Gulen is one of the most influential characters when it comes to possibly, you know, doing anything to destabilize Erdogan's regime. It's just, it makes you wonder, is it ever going to work from overseas?
Right, but this is now, he is basically, it's no longer whispers. This is very public.
This is out there.
And apparently Erdogan on the phone to Obama last month wanted Obama to kind of keep tabs on Gulen, and but he is in Pennsylvania, so he's kind of sheltered from any potential fallout.
Yeah.
So it's quite fascinating. It's almost operatic.
And he's in Pennsylvania. Yes,
he's in Pennsylvania. Yeah, interesting choice. So here's something that really went behind the radar. Voice of America, which still exists. Who knew? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
And with a story like this, it's a good thing. After Uganda, Kenya gears up for gay rights debate. Now, as we know, Uganda recently took criminalization of homosexuality to the nth degree.
It was, now, in a horrible way.
Yeah, and now Kenya is starting to up the ante in terms of having more enforcement of their existing laws, which criminalize homosexual activity. And there's a first-term member of the parliament there. His name is Mr. Kangata. And he believes that research shows that if you're gay, you're more likely to cheat, just like his, and I quote, unfaithful bisexual ex-girlfriend. And that has prompted him...
Not that this is personal.
Not that it's personal.
In any way, shape, or form.
But this has prompted him to put on the legislative agenda...
Oh my God, beware the wrath of a scorned man. You know, my Lord. Yes.
So it's one to watch. Here's Uganda, will Kenya follow?
You know, and in a place like Africa that's already marred by so much, you know, corruption.
Why not add more to that?
Why not add more, you know? Unbelievable.
But those people in that picture were protesting already, so it's going to be heating up.
Well, more power to them.
Speaking of protest, South China Morning Post reporting on this odd protest in Hong Kong the other day. These parody protesters were from Hong Kongers were protesting to urge mainlanders to reignite their patriotism by shopping at home. Now, to sort that out in a nutshell, basically there's a bit of a rivalry between the people in Hong Kong, which is part of China, but the former British colony, and mainland Chinese that come over to Hong Kong to get deals, to get infant powder that's not toxic, according to the article. And it's building up some resentment amongst the locals in Hong Kong who claim that mainlanders cut in line and spit on the streets, unlike Hong Kong locals.
Oh my God, I'm so glad none of them come to shop here.
Yeah. So a little friction there, where they're also cracking down on press freedom in a big way in Hong Kong. It's also one thing to watch in the weeks ahead.
Yeah, definitely.
For the Telegraph, on a fun note, did you know that if your Maltese Terrier licks up some nasty stuff from the garage floor, you can save him with a bottle of vodka?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that work only for Maltese Terriers?
It also works
what
if you're
I like something disgusting from the garage floor?
Yeah, bring on the Stolly.
Wow.
I don't know why, but the vodka seemed to undo some of the damage from some
vodka,
glycol.
Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes is the nectar of life. Thank you. I'm glad it's been proven. Tony, thank you. You'll be joining me the next hour, and thank Allah for that. On to our next topic. Thousands of people rallied in Tokyo and other Japanese cities to demand an end to nuclear power as the third anniversary of the Fukushima disaster, a horrible disaster that the world remembered, is marked today. Now, before we delve into the subject and see what happened since in Fukushima, let's take a look at the following report.
It may be small, but for the moment, it's home. Space is at a premium here, and by day, the mattress is stored in a cupboard. Since the 2011 Japanese tsunami, Sawako Kishi and her family, like some 100,000 others, have been living in prefabricated houses like this one.
We don't know when, but the building officer said we could be relocated from 2017. In the meantime, we get by receiving aid from all over the place.
During the day, Sawako joins other residents in this tiny room. There are lots of retired people in this complex, and to battle boredom, they make sandals, which they then sell. Yet memories of the tsunami are never far away.
Behind me, people were screaming as they were swept away. We still haven't found them. I can't forget their screams. The years pass, but I know I will never be able to forget them.
In Onagawa, there are no new buildings by the sea. Here they're reinforcing the hillsides so that housing construction can proceed in a less dangerous area. The list for relocation is long. The Takeyamas have been told they should move in around 3 years' time. In the meantime, they wait.
The
walls are paper thin. You know when the neighbors are having a bath, when they pull the flush. Sometimes you want to argue, but you have to stay calm and be patient.
To date, Japan has built less than 5% of the houses needed for tsunami survivors. And for these pensioners, there's a real concern that some of them may not live long enough to see their new homes.
We're joined in studio by senior I-24 News editor Ruthie Sinai. Always happy to have you.
Thank you.
And before that, also by Japan Times journalist Reggie Yoshida. Reggie, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Reggie, a question to you. Mostly, what I'd like to hear from you is about Mr. Abe. In Japan, in terms of, cutting off reactivating nuclear power plants, is there a consensus that after what happened in Fukushima, that will be done in Japan?
There's no clear consensus right now, but majority of voters supporting Prime Minister Abe, who is pushing for reactivation of nuclear power plants. Japan has 48 commercial nuclear power plants. They have been all suspended after the accident. Japan keep paying a lot of money, maximum amount of money to keep buying oil, gas, fossil fuels. So Abe is trying to reactivate them once they clear the new safety standard drawn up after the accident. So voters put the economy first right now. So people have some mixed feeling toward Abe, but the people kind of believe Abe is managing Japanese economy quite well right now. So they are supporting Abe.
Yeah. So in that respect, if the economy is managed well, I'm assuming that will always trump anything else. Reggie, very important points. Thank you for joining us today, Ruthie Sinai. First of all, the million-dollar question: if something like that in Fukushima happened and there is no consensus to keep the suspension of nuclear plants, what have we learned? And also, well, let's start with that.
Okay, what have we learned is the following. The problem with Japan is that they are really heavily reliant on nuclear-produced fuel. It was supplying some 30% of their fuel needs and was supposed to go up, and they were going to build other reactors. There are 48 of these, white elephants sitting, doing nothing, and it's costing them a lot of money to bring in fossil fuels and slowing down the economy. Abe himself, has promised economic recovery, and has not been able to deliver on it because of this trade deficit that's caused by. Look, there are other parts of the world where there are equally dangerous nuclear plants on fault lines. One of them is Diablo Canyon in California, which has got, a lot of fault lines around it, and there have been, the environmentalists have been warning for years, this is not a good place to put such a dangerous facility.
Yeah, but then it makes me wonder, though, if the world, when we look at what happened in Fukushima and we look at what the society, first of all, how long will it take the people who were affected by that leak? How long? Yeah.
The question is, what are we going to be seeing, with babies born with born with deformities, and it's also, it's spread. Initially it was like a 25-kilometer radius. The radiation is still spewing out of this Fukushima plant, even though it's, been decommissioned. But it's going to take actually another, it depends. TEPCO, the utility company, is saying that by 2017 it's going to be completely clean and decommissioned and safe. But I think it's highly doubtful.
And still there are children there also that, some people are being raised at home. They're not allowed to get out of the house
at home,
if they're close to the
And
epicenter.
the question really is also, we saw after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we saw, and Chernobyl, of course, we saw, birth defects in subsequent generations. So this, of course, we're not going to know for a while,
for a long time.
Yeah.
If they give us the date of 2017, nobody knows if that actually will clear anything.
No, they don't. And as I said, the radius is spreading. It was initially 25 kilometers. They said wasn't safe. Then they talked about 55 kilometers from Fukushima isn't safe. And not to mention the stuff that is spewing out into the sea, which is also highly radioactive.
So when a leak like that happens, just finally, I'm wondering, can it even be contained?
Probably not. No.
And is anybody saying that?
No.
Other than us?
Yeah. No, I don't think so, because it's first of all, it's frightening. And secondly, there are economic considerations, and you always, you weigh one against the other. What's more important, And I don't know. This is a philosophical question.
It's a philosophical question, but I'm also thinking, for the administration of a country as such, and Abe's, the people think he's making economic gains for the country. Then they're not going to go for pushing too hard on to keep those. Messy and sad stuff. Ruthie Sinai, thank you for shedding light over the story this morning. When we get back, the life and activism of 2009 UN Humanitarian of the Year winner, Rose Mapendo. She is here. She will join us in studio. Has a fascinating story. Stay with us. Before anything else, let's hear some more of the morning headlines. Welcome back. It is still Tuesday, March 11th, 2014. This is still the morning edition. Yes, I am still Yael Levi. And thank you for staying with us, because our next topic is one that is very exciting to me. I'm very, very happy to introduce it. So here goes. Rose Mapendo is a Congolese human rights activist who won the 2009 UN Humanitarian Award. She founded the Mapendo New Horizons Foundation to help vulnerable survivors of physical, psychological, and social trauma caused by decades of extreme violence so that they have an easy access to health care and to give them hope. Now, Rose Mapendo's story has been chronicled in the documentary film Pushing the Elephant, which premiered in New York City in June 2010 and is visiting Israel as Tel Aviv University's guest for an International Women's Day conference held here today. And we are joined, as you saw, by Rose Mapendo. Rose, thank you for being with us. And before we hear your story, let's take a look at a little bit about it in the following report.
I want to thank God and to honor Him.
Rose Mapendo, winner of the 2009 United Nations Humanitarian of the Year award, came a long way to her current status as a prominent human rights activist. In the late 90s, during the genocide that took place in the Democratic Republic of Congo, her husband was murdered, and she and her 10 children have spent 16 months in the infamous death camps in horrifying conditions. Fortunate enough to be transferred to another prison before mass executions in the camp took place, Ms. Mapendo ended up in a Red Cross protection center before immigrating to the United States. But she did not forget her roots and started saving money to send to families still in the war-torn country. She had eventually started the Rose Mapendo Foundation that focuses on the rights of refugees. Although the Second Congo War officially ended in 2003, the region is still conflicted and close to 500,000 citizens are considered to have been displaced from their homes. The M23 army, a radical segment of the Congolese Revolutionary Army, rebelled against the government 2 years ago, reigniting the area until their insurgency was declared a failure last November. Many of those involved in war crimes and the genocide are still sought after in international courts. Only last week, the ICC found former Congo militia boss Germain Katanga guilty of a 2003 village massacre.
We're very honored, as I said, to be joined in studio by Rose Mapendo. Now, Rose, you now live in the United States, right? Yes. But I don't think people can realize your experiences and what you went through in the Congo. What happened to you and your family back in the day before you left? You were a survivor, and I'd love to hear your story.
What happened? We was arrested from the people who grew up who know our background.
Right.
We have a very successful business. To make the story short, and the government was attacked us, send the military to my house, and we all was arrested. In that city, we were just 5 families. I couldn't believe to be a victim for something I didn't do because I am a Tutsi Munyamulenge. That's the only one thing they arrested us for. I was shocked and against God. I said, why this can happen to us? So we all arrested, but they killed the male because they think male, they are value more than women. We suffered together with the children beyond the understanding, without give us 16 months, without give us change of clothes, without give us toothbrush, without give us even provide something to cover ourselves. But many children were killed from starvation, and we were 5 women, and 2 of us were taken. We did not know how they killed them. They left the kids with me. The kids began to die. So from that, I was thinking to take my life. But when I look at the children, I say, God, how can I take my life when my children are still alive? As a mom, it was a big challenge to think he was going to be killed every single day because we was surrounded guns 24 hours, 7 days a week. Right. So it was a crazy, understandable, and undescribable. You cannot describe how it was look like.
I don't think anybody, unless you go through what you went through, can ever understand the magnitude of it. And I think, it's people like you, because you're a true survivor. You really, you're a survivor of something that, we in the Western world can never understand. But you got out of there. And you got out of there with, surviving members of your family. And you said that you became an activist because you are a woman who survived genocide. What do you think is the condition of women today in Africa? And how much help do they need from the world that we don't realize?
The women need a voice to raise awareness. As I survive, I didn't think I would survive, but the experience I had from the genocide, I just think I survived for a reason. I can be the voice. The condition they have is zero. They have nothing to live in. And it's not myself who been in that situation myself. It happened for thousands of women. They are victims, women, most of the women and children. Have no clue, they have no idea. They don't understand, use raped women as a weapon, front of children. Some women die from a raped when they are pregnant. I remember my friend, she was raped with 7 soldiers. She was 5 months pregnant and her fetus dead. Nobody can help to take the dead body in her womb. Not one person, thousands of them. So some they didn't die, they're still alive, but they dead physical. Not physical, but spiritual. They are emotional, nowhere to go, nothing to do. They are in that condition. So, and I might survive. How God can use peace over my life. Without excuse, not being educated, without excuse, I'm a single mama, widow mama with 10 children, because I'm very pressed. Who can speak because nobody knows.
Nobody.
Nobody.
Speak for us.
Nobody knows.
And your organization today, I mean, the Rosa Mapendo Foundation, what does it do? How does it try to help?
My heart and my prayer is to work for peace and reconciliation. But how? Because the government promised what to do for people. When they became to the power, they forgot all the people. So as the women are giving up, die from every day, from HIV positive, from rape, from all those kind. They have no food, they have no water, they have no place to eat, no place to sleep. So my life, if I can, when I go everywhere, if I can inspire one, I can be so happy. Rosa Mapendo helped to provide women with life skill and also trauma healing, because the victim, it's not easy to open the heart for anyone, because what happened to them is shameful. They don't want to talk about. Even I talk, they think I'm crazy, because they knew nobody can change what happened to her. Yeah, so why I can talk about in my life? Who care? Make a fun on me, even though it's not my choice. I said that we talk because not ourselves, for rest of us. How we think about the future, how we think about our children as a mom, as a women. Women even can work together, not work for power, take care for fight for families, fight for children, fight for present and future for our children.
And it's within the power of us to do that. I want to, first of all, Tony, and I'm going to do this on the air. I don't think we're going to go to the web review today. But I'd love for you to join the discussion with me, because I think, first of all, that you are a hero. And I know that, how long have you not been back in the Congo? Have you been back since you left?
You've
been back?
Yes.
Yeah.
I went to Congo twice, even though it's a very risk, because I'm a Munyamulenge.
Exactly.
My face is not welcome. But I still, the way I survive is not in my power, it's God. Is how I said. I survive for God's mission. And as I was in surrender guns at 24 hours, choose somebody who's next to me and took his life. Somebody who's not between. So
it's
I'm not to survive because what I did is special, but God, He make it happen.
Yeah.
And give it glory. And the people, we don't love God exactly if we don't love people.
Do you still have family back in the Congo?
Yes, I have my brothers.
How are they, because, I mean, they said that there was, peace in the Congo now, and now there was war again. What is the situation for somebody who knows, who survived it? What is going on right now?
Because the politic up there, they says peace, but it's the people fighting each other between the tribe every single day, kill anytime you see opportunity. And I think my perspective, if we can use women to work together, peace, provide the same. It doesn't matter which tribe you come from. We all mom, we all women. If we can work together, share what we have, accept what happened, because some they still deny it. No matter what happened, they still not accept it. So what? So why you give up anyway?
Women are now by numbers, they're considered a minority in Africa, right? They're considered, do you think they have a chance to unite and stand up? I mean, what you described is horrible, horrible crimes against women, against mothers, against children, against minorities. We have also issues now of gay rights in the Congo. I mean, we have, in Africa, all these horrible things going. Do you think, should the international world intervene on behalf of the minorities, the voiceless people, the women of Africa? Do you think that is achievable? Is that what needs to be done?
Yeah, it's achievable. Nothing as long as somebody still alive, there is hope. As long as you stay alive, you have to do something, because somebody is still breathing, still alive. And a nation can do anything if they want to. But some people, they don't want to go into it. I don't want to take an advantage, because they are human beings, and their life is a count.
Yeah.
As I can be surrounded my children, why not I cannot give somebody a hand just to stand up?
Finally, you were in Israel.
Yes.
Yeah, and you were invited here to speak after meeting. I mean, you were invited by the Holocaust Museum originally, right?
Yes.
How did that happen? You're here. We're with us.
So my life is a miracle every day. Every day to be in this land,
yes,
is unbelievable. Because I used to read the Bible, I think it's heaven. I never know Israel is in the air.
Yes.
So I met Ilana and Yayal, which one make a very big connection. I love the women of passion. I love to be sticking with them, to supporting each other.
And that's women that are involved with the Holocaust Museum.
With the Holocaust
right?
Museum. So.
And they invited you over?
They invited me to museum in U.S. and also they invited me to come. It was a great honor. And also, I like it to be part for any woman who is acting to help other women.
Yeah.
Because it's not a coincidence we are women. And we should be proud to be who we are. If we don't value ourselves, who can value us? If we don't fighting for our right, who's fighting for us? Because the men, the good, we love them, but they are not have a connection between us and children and family. And if you can help the community, if you can manage your own family, why not? You cannot give somebody a chance.
No, definitely. Do you think that there is a chance for Africa? Do you think that it can change?
Yes.
How?
Oh, wow. I never giving up for me is not an option. As I survive, somebody can survive too. Because God, He used other people to save my life. Actually, somebody who came to rescue him that time was a Jewish, just Sasha Chano.
Sasha Chano, okay.
Yeah, with some common connected with Israel already. So if I survive, yes, they can survive.
Then anybody can survive. Rosa Pendo, you know, I'm speechless, and I don't think that we often get the chance to have many people like you in the studio. You did miss the web review of Tony Grant, but I think
it's very inspirational.
Very, very inspirational, yes. And we're glad that you are here. We're glad that you're with us. And today you were speaking at Tel Aviv University, a conference, International Women's Day. Yeah. Very important. If you're in the Middle East, I would go and take and have a listen to this amazing woman. And now, we wrap up after the break. NSA leaker Edward Snowden speaks at this year's South by Southwest Interactive Festival. I don't think that, he will speak as well as Rose Mapenda, who was just with us in studio. But, that's when we come back. And before anything else, we'll give you a little bit more of the morning headlines. Thank you. Okay, good morning. Thank you for staying with us. This is I-24 News. This is your morning edition. This is where you should be, and I'll tell you why. Because we're joined by the Tube deputy editor, Shai Ringel. Shai. Good morning.
Yeah.
Do you want to try this in German?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. Okay. And what do you have for us today?
We're going to talk about Snowden that appeared last night at the South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas. He did it for the first time, appearing to an audience in the United States. I'm
going to stop you for a second. To shallow people like me who never watch TV and know nothing, what is that?
South by Southwest.
Yeah,
it's a very big festival in Austin that covers media, movies, music, and there's a tech festival inside all of that.
Right.
It's huge. Hundreds and thousands of people coming to Austin every year, and the festival, the Tech Festival, is very geeky. It's for even the geekiest of the geeks inside.
Geek.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, exactly. And the people who won't go to the other geeky festivals will go to Austin.
Go to that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Ouch. My God.
Yeah.
So many things I can say about that probably I can't say on the air. Okay, so they're all in that convention. I'm assuming he was speaking via
Google Hangout. Yeah,
Of course.
he's an exile, temporary exile in Russia.
Dude, he's in exile for the rest of his life.
Probably,
Yeah.
and they talked a little bit about the fact that he cannot be in the United States, and if he were to talk to them in person,
right,
they would lock him out after the event.
So what did he have to say, just out of interest? What was the the main point of?
He talked for an hour, and it was mostly boring, I have to say, because it was very practical. I was very surprised. He used the event to talk about inscriptions and very, very geeky stuff. But
listen. Say what you want about Edward Snowden, believe him or not, or whatnot. But at the end of the day, he's like the geek with the capital G, right? I mean, and isn't that? Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. He's a gun enthusiast from the South that got himself into a mix-up when he tried a job.
That's before he entered the dark side and saw all the bad things that people were doing.
Yeah.
But what were the questions that he was asked? Were they about inscription or
There
what was
were a lot about inscription. The interesting question that he had to answer was, "Would you do it again?" And he said, "Absolutely yes." And
do you believe him? Just out of curiosity.
I think so.
Really?
I think so. Yeah. I hear a lot of interviews he does for international outlets, and he's really enthusiastic about what he did, even though he's in exile now.
Yeah, what are you going to say? You're stuck in Moscow. You're probably going to be there for the rest of your life. You either have to reconcile with the fact.
He works at an IT company in Moscow. That's not a high-end job for a person like him.
Right.
And he
he's
won't
in Moscow,
see his family, but he says he'll absolutely do it again.
And how much traffic, or how much because I know nothing. I know nothing about these type of conventions. But how much traffic does a speech as such get? Did it get a lot of play on the internet? Did it get a lot of play media-wise?
Yeah, it got play media-wise. It's an hour-long talk, so it's not going to be the most viral thing ever. And he was pretty boring, so you couldn't find a good sync.
That's which is something that we always look for. Okay, other than Snowden, stuck in Russia, what else?
We talked about last night in our show about something else that happened at South by Southwest. A small company called Chaotic Moon introduced a new drone that can arrest people.
My God, drones can do anything these days. It's either kill you from the air, deliver a book.
And now they can electrify you. Yeah,
nice.
That's really, really nice. It's a drone.
Welcome to our show.
Yeah, there you go. That was exciting. Here you go.
Okay, now they can electrify you, and who invented that? Let me guess, Americans.
Yeah, of course.
There you go.
Yeah.
Not only that, you can see the little experiment they did. That's an intern for the company. He was actually shocked by that drone.
First, I gotta say, if that drone moves at that speed and comes to, electrify me or whatnot, I can kill it with my little finger. Come on. It's a baseball bat, and who knows?
When he has an electrical shock that can deliver...
No, but before it gets to you, look at the thing. You can smack it on the head.
They talked to the experiment. They talked about how it can recognize if you're looking at him, or you can you start running from it, and then it starts.
You're going like this. Okay.
Yeah, it's sending the shocks. It's a very effective shocker. It's 18,000 volts shock. It's more than the police.
No, it's the modern police. I'm trying to think between that and reports we've had over the course of the last several weeks. Drones. Amazon is going to be using drones to get books to your to the threshold, to your doorstep. drones killing you from the air, clearly.
Yeah.
Drones now doing that. Police, wow, brave new world.
Everybody wants drones to be the future. That's the thing that you can see not only in South by Southwest, a lot of those festivals and congresses.
Everybody wants drones.
Everybody wants drones to do everything.
Yeah, okay. And finally, what else? Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it last night. Newsweek printed a very nice story about the inventor of Bitcoin. Nobody knew who he was.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
There was a great episode about that in The Good Wife.
There you go.
I'm such a chick.
I'm sorry I didn't see that.
Yeah, you should be. Yes,
nobody
this
knew
is my show.
Nobody knew who this guy was. He invented the Bitcoin in 2008, 2009.
Right.
And
Let me guess, a geek.
Not exactly. He's a very old man.
Really?
Yeah, and he did all the math behind Bitcoin. Nobody knew if he was a real man or not. And just before that thing exploded, he disappeared from the internet. He covered his track. He didn't make any money out of it.
Did he ever say why he did it?
A little bit at the cover story.
Right.
The interesting fact is that now he denies the cover story of Newsweek.
Now he says he's not a Bitcoin man.
He's not a Bitcoin man. Now he denies everything. He says that they tried to force him out of a confession, the journalist who did the cover story. So nobody knows what's going on there.
What does he do in his daily life? I mean, does he have another profession other than you have the... Is this like the mailman of the neighborhood?
He's a mathematician at training, and he works a lot of at inscription codes.
Wow.
He's an interesting man, and the cover story is really good if it's true.
If it's true. That's, we'll conclude that in journalism we always have that problem, that if the story is true, it's really good.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just figuring out, is it true? Yeah. My God, the $1,000,000 question. Shai, fascinating. You are not a geek. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
I am a geek. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. And the Tube is on every night at 10:10 Middle Eastern Time. You should watch it because you're the brain, one of the brains behind it. Thank you. Stay with us. Now we're moving to the blonde part of the show. I can say that.
Well, yeah,
we can. Thank you. Bingo.
That portion.
and you are Wine and America journalist Ronnie Stav. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
Fantastic.
I'm fresh to the studio, as both of you are. Probably never going to come back because I scared you to pieces.
Yeah, this view is so...
Isn't it amazing?
It's gorgeous.
I know.
I just want to look over there.
And there you go. And you have for us what?
A couple of stories. Our first story is about the last episode, the season finale of True Detective.
Yes. No,
yes, there you go. You know about that.
Not
Fantastic.
only that, I actually put a status about it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Did you see the last
episode?
episode?
I'm hormonal and pregnant, which everybody can see, so I can say this. True Detective really pissed me off.
Why is that?
It sucked.
The whole thing, or the
whole
last
thing was, we're trying to be Twin Peaks. We've got really good,
That's true.
We've got really good actors. There was actually a great New Yorker article about it, I think, last night.
Fantastic actors. Matthew McConaughey, his doing is complete transition from pretty boy, surfer dude, 10 days to get rid of a guy.
Yes,
and
yes,
now he's being Dallas Buyers Club, like this magnificent.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I know.
fantastic.
No, I'm all for it.
Okay, but not for the show.
Come on. I mean, beautifully shot, and then you're like, what's going on here?
Well, I think that's the whole idea. It's a very symbolic type of show, and when you talk to the writer of the show, he will actually tell you that if you saw the first episode, you will know 85% of what this whole story is about, what's going to happen next. He tells you what to Google in order to show us a real story that happened in Louisiana at 05 that is as shady or even more shady than the real story.
So in order to understand, or to combat all these, because the web yesterday was going crazy, if somebody explained the final episode of True Detective to me, please, because nobody understood it. Okay. Did you watch it?
No, I'm not doing myself a spoiler. It's tonight, so I'm going to watch it tonight. But the HBO On Demand crashed completely.
Really?
Yes. The streaming service temporarily crashed when they were trying to download the last episode. They also tweeted, due to overwhelmingly popular demand of True Detective, #True Detective, we've been made aware of an
issue affecting some users. Please try again soon.
Please try again soon. But this is the million-dollar question, and I'm going to open this for a discussion, a very deep discussion in the studio. Aren't we upset by shows that don't really, it's like Lost. I was very upset by the season finale of Lost.
I completely agree. I was very upset as well. But
thank you.
And here, I think that also because it's an anthology, it's only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
It takes you through a story. The end of it, they were talking about the fact that they were trying not to take it too overwhelming, so it will stay more true to reality. That it's not a black and white type of thing. No one is going through, a complete transition of the character. It's like they're moving like 5 degrees by the end of the show.
Or in other words, we couldn't do what Breaking Bad did so fabulously and actually finish off every train of thought. Thank you. I just said that.
There you go.
Yeah. And what else?
So what else? So we also. Well, we were talking about South by Southwest, and now we know what it is. So we don't need to keep on talking about it. But we have different, there's music, there's films, there's interactive, all these things.
So you too knew what it was.
Yes. But I think we saw different. There's something for everyone in South by Southwest. And Lady Gaga will be doing a talk.
There?
Yes.
See, it's not all geeks. Come on.
See, it's everything. It's everything and everyone. But Lady Gaga will be the first to say that she is for the geek. She has this aid foundation, so we can't really say that she's not part of this.
Completely.
This scene.
Big artists like to go to South by Southwest for the geeks.
True.
For the geeks.
That's the thing. They want to go to the geek community.
And it's all this like. I think there's a whole transition of the geek idea, and Lena Dunham is gonna talk this year. Neil Young. So
power to the geeks of the world, honey. You're winning.
There you go. There you go.
But
so she they announced that she will be performing, but now they also announced she will be talking this coming March 14th. Yes, this Friday.
Keynote speaker.
Wow. Yeah. She will be a keynote.
No, keynote. Hey, that's something that anything Lady Gaga, I think is something that I would sign up for. Yep. Quickly though, because I'm fascinated with the last one. That's Wes Anderson's new film.
Oh, there you go. So, it's Wes Anderson. If you love him, then you will love the movie. It's so vivid and colorful.
You watched it. You saw it already.
Yes, absolutely. It's just,
Who's in it?
it's...
Name anything.
Who's in it? Ralph Fiennes, Edward Norton, Harvey Keitel, Tilda Swinton, Jeff Goldblum, of course, Bill Murray, that everyone is talking.
He's in every single
that's something that Wes Anderson is doing. He's working with the same crew on all of his movies. And he's also taking former castmates to keep on meeting in each and every one of his films.
And this film is about what?
The Grand Budapest Hotel, it's actually dedicated to novelist, journalist, playwright Stephen Zweig. You probably know to say it better if you want to help me here. You're like, you're fine.
It's like, yes, I know. Okay.
He's an Austrian Jew. His autobiographic novel, The World of Yesterday. Do you want to say it in German? Because I have it here. Die Welt von gestern.
Die Welt von gestern.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. I was like, I'm not going to say it because it's going to sound horrible. So this novel, autobiographic novel from 1942.
Wow.
It's about it describes the cultural atmosphere of the House of Habsburg Empire. Yes, before the First
things from my
World War.
From when I was born.
There you go.
Yes.
All right. And the story itself, it takes us to this odd little land. It's called Zabrovka. And in this land, it's the year of 1932, and we stand in front of a monument in a cemetery for an author that wrote a book by the same title as the movie.
And in Wes Anderson's, I'm sure, creation, it has the feel of a Wes Anderson, but for this specific one, I actually connected to it. That's my world of geeks. Folks, thank you for joining me. I'll have you back because I had a fabulous time. And if you're not too scared, you look scared, Shy.
I'm a little bit scared.
You're a little bit scared.
I'll be okay.
You'll be okay. But that's it for us, guys. For this morning, visit us on the web, our Facebook page, I24 News. Don't forget to join us tomorrow to start your day, as you should be doing every single day, because we're watching you. Okay? Thank you.